the EEC, of the all of the well, just look at our currency, the all-seeing eye on our $1 bill. Talks about that on page 368 of this book. In fact, as I'm turning the book's pages, everything is there. The Rothschilds, what do they have to do with Israel? Why is there an avenue or a big street right in Jerusalem named after Rothschild? What's he got to do with the setting up of the nation of Israel? Hey, how about the oil companies? When you pull up and gas up your car, are you putting a little money in the pocket of the Rockefellers? There's a lot here, my friends. How about when you go down and you buy some furniture and you look underneath and it says made in China? Are you helping the Illuminati Lee family? There is powerful stuff. You're going to find out everything from Senator Ted Kennedy to Senator Strom Thurmond, the connections of the Masons and the Illuminati. How about the Council on Foreign Relations? How about the Trilateral Commission? What about the Merovingian dynasty, the Priory of Zion, the claims of the bloodline of Jesus? Well, since Jesus didn't have any children, there should be no bloodline. There is no bloodline, but they at least claim it. Does that give them some kind of occult power, making that claim? How about the Pope? What did he do at Assisi, Italy, in 1986? That's somehow connected with the Illuminati. You'll want to know about the Pope and the Vatican. This is an astonishing book. How about the Mormon Church? Is that connected with the Illuminati? Everything that I've talked about you will find in this book, and I haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg. Here's how to get your copy. It's a very heavy book. We'll send it out to you. Please just send us $25 for the book, and it's as I said before, it's 96 pages, including footnotes and references and such. 596 pages for your love gift to the ministry, Power Prophecy, of $25. Now please add $3 for shipping and handling. I suspect that'll barely pay the postage on this opus of a book. So a total of $28, and I think it's going to take you many days to get through this book. Hey, I'm turning on page 340 right now. What about a mock alien invasion? Was it planned at the Illuminati Feast of the Beast way back in the 19th century? What about UFO magic? How about pyramid prophecies? I'm telling you, everything you'd want to know about the Illuminati practically is in this book. I want you to have your own copy so you can be a researcher too and you can know these facts. Bloodlines of the Illuminati by Fritz Springmeier. For your love gift of $25, add $3 for shipping and handling. Total of $28. Here's how to get it. Just call us toll free, 1-800-234-9673. Ask for the book, Bloodlines of the Illuminati. Or just say, I want the Illuminati book by Fritz. I want the Illuminati book by Springmeier. Well, we'll know exactly what you're talking about. Bloodlines of the Illuminati. 1-800-234-9673. You can also write to us. Just say, Texe, send me that book, and enclose a check or a money order for $28. If you send cash, well, hide it real good. I mean, put several pieces of paper around the cash if you send $28 cash because, some days you can't even trust the postman, and I know most postmen are honest. But it just seems like today the world's getting more and more decadent. And you have to take precautions. So the best is probably check or money order. Or just call us toll-free, 1-800-234-9673. Now, if you're overseas, you're going to want this for sure. I was talking to Fritz right before the program. He was telling me that last year it was in the top 10 bestsellers list in the nation of Japan. It was a big bestseller over in Japan. Isn't that interesting? They hide these things in America, but even the Japanese are finding it out. Well, we're going to ask Fritz when we go back in a minute why that is. But we want you to have the book. Again, 1-800-234-9673. If you're overseas, you want to order the book, feel free to call us on our regular line. That's 263-9780. Hey, if you're on the internet, you can even go to our webpage. That's www.texemarrs.com. That's www.texemarrs. Make sure that's with an E, that Tex. A little bit different. Texe, T-E-X-E, Mars. Hey, my mother did that. I'm not responsible. TEXEMARRS.com. And you can order on our order page there on the net. We have an actual order form. And you'll find some other interesting information, too. Color pictures that you don't get in our newsletters and such are on the net. Well, now we're going to return to our regular program. My guest, Fritz Springmeier. You're listening to Power of Prophecy, because there is power in God's prophetic word. Fritz, do you believe that there's power in God's prophetic word?
Oh, yes. The Word of God is truth yesterday and today and tomorrow, and so the whole book is prophecy. Truth is not truth for one day, and the prophecies that are written specifically as prophecies are written for us, for our benefit.
You know, do you believe as I do that God prophesied these things? You know, Revelation talks about the 10 kings, for example, of the last days, who give all of their strength and power unto the beast. Do you believe these are Illuminati kings?
Oh, yes. But I believe that there's a dual system, that what we see in our world is reflected in the spirit world. And so what I found out in working with people that had come out of the Illuminati is that they told me that our political systems around the world and our military systems were actually based on demonology. And so if you see a political system operating in the world, it has power structures that are mirroring satanic power structures. That's
very fascinating. I recall in the book of Daniel, it talks about the prince of Persia.
Yes.
The angel was, Michael was delayed in the heavenlies by the prince of Persia. So there's evidently these territorial spirit kings or princes. I wonder if there's one over America.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Well, let's talk some more about this book, because it is, I'm telling you, it's I've read it 3 or 4 times because I just love to expose the devil. I love to expose his works, and I appreciate a man like you that has the courage to do so. It's a very dangerous occupation, Fritz, to be honest with you, to expose these things and to put it in book form as you've done. But let me ask you a little bit about these bloodlines, these 13 that you have here. Is it okay to discuss a few of them in specifics?
Sure. You mentioned one that's gotten quite a bit of attention in the last decade. That's the Holy Bloodline, that Merovingian dynasty.
Yes.
And people who got the original hardbound book of the Bloodlines of the Illuminati, its title was a little bit different, they'll want to get this revision, because I've got some really neat charts in here. For instance, on page 3, they will see how 11 of our presidents are descended from this Merovingian 13th Illuminati Holy Bloodline.
What a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, totally by accident. How can that possibly be? Yeah, I see that. The 13th Illuminati Holy Bloodline and the 11 presidents.
Yes, 11 presidents that tie back to that one bloodline. People don't realize how related our presidents are. It's incredible.
Well, you have the King of Scotland, King Juan Carlos, of Spain. So there's connections even over in Europe.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Right. Like Prince Princess Di. She was called a commoner in the press. Well, she wasn't a commoner. She was related to, pulling the number off the top of my head, something like 11 or 14 of our presidents. And she was related to practically every one of these Illuminati bloodlines. She was directly related to the Rockefellers and the Astors and the DuPonts and quite a number of the other Illuminati bloodlines. So she was hardly a commoner.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I was a kid, I read a lot, and of course I didn't know anything about the Illuminati at the time, but I would read about the Astors and, you know, and all of these very rich families.
Yes.
I didn't realize at all they would have any occult connections. How about the Astor? You know, Lady Astor. There's all these, the very, you know, hoity-toity back during the Depression. You know, people looked at the Astors and some of these others. But then you have the Kennedys. There seems to be, you know, a little bit of a disconnect there. Are the Kennedys, you know, they have been pictured to be sort of rough and ready people. You know, Joseph Kennedy, they say he was a bootlegger. But really, he wasn't like your southern backwoods bootlegger, was he?
No. Maybe some of the connections between all of these people are obscure because the different organizations that they connect to, the significance of that has been also obscured. For instance, what I'm getting at is that, like, you've got a lot of Astors that have been Freemasons, or you know, the Kennedy family was very tight with the mafia, and those facts have come out over the years, and yet, unless one understands the role that these groups play in the overall scheme of things, then they're how they tie together. You know, the Freemasons have been involved in a lot of activities, and so have the mafia that are part of what the Illuminati are doing. The mafia families, if somebody wants to begin to get a picture of how these Illuminati bloodlines function, they're like mafia families. The mafia families took their role model from the Illuminati.
I know there's all the rituals of the mafia. They have blood rituals, the whole bit, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question about the DuPonts. Everybody seems to know DuPont Chemical Corporation and so forth. I know about a decade ago a man wrote a book for a major New York publisher. He's a well-known author. I think the title of the book, I'm sure you know about it, was Behind the Nylon Curtain, because they developed or invented nylon, Orlon, and a number of other synthetic materials at DuPont. But before the book could even be published, I mean, they had already printed it up, the DuPont family intervened, and boy, they somehow strong-armed the publisher and got him or did something, and the book was just totally wiped off the face of the earth, never was allowed really to be published and distributed throughout the nation. Do you know of this incident? I mean, how powerful is the DuPont family today?
That incident did occur, and they are very powerful. Of course, you remember that recently we had Louis DuPont Smith, who was the heir to that fortune, was involved in shooting a wrestler, and or no, I'm getting mixed up with John. Excuse me, that was John DuPont, who was there in Pennsylvania. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it turned out he was homosexual, and he evidently he didn't get exactly what he wanted out of a relationship with this wrestler, and well, I guess he's in prison now, isn't he?
Yeah, and And there's an interesting book that came out about all of that, but if somebody wants to get an example of how powerful they are, John DuPont is an example. He had the police right in his pockets, and the police trained at his estate. In fact, he was not actually qualified to be a policeman, but they even allowed him to go out as a policeman